Perfect, we're going. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Global Flow series. I am so excited to be back with you again today, and I have a very special guest today, the incredible Amber Kuileimailani Bonnici, and yes, I think I almost got that right, is joining us from Hawaii. Aloha.
Aloha, everybody. So happy to see you. Yay!
Oh my goodness. I am just thrilled to have you as part of this. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting you in Hawaii in November at a mastermind. And you did a ceremony there for us. You did a creative process, and then you did this beautiful red thread ceremony. And I actually think it changed my life. We did this beautiful ceremony, and I committed to releasing resistance to the divine feminine. And in the few months since then, I've kept having that come up and just be pushed in that direction lovingly by the universe and whoever else. And I just want to thank you. It was such a beautiful experience, and I just knew that that one little moment had such a beautiful shift in my life that I really wanted to share you and your beautiful creative process with everybody else.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear that, Joanna. The power of ritual is amazing. It's been used for thousands of years, lots of different traditions, but what makes ritual so powerful was your commitment to, at that moment in time, to choose what you wanted. So good for you.
It wasn't easy to say the words out loud, but I was like, when I said it, I was like, oh man, this has to happen. So thank you again. But before we kick off, so today's topic is all about how to unleash your creative flow. I think it's a topic a lot of us, we don't think we're creative, or we judge ourselves for not being. And so I think it's just such an important topic. But I'm going to read your official bio just so everybody knows exactly who you are. I might even attempt to say your name again.
Practice makes perfect.
It's quite fun. I have it written out phonetically in front of me. Bless whoever sent that to me. But okay, so Amber Kuileimailani Bonnici is an intuitive creativity coach and creative business mentor. She helps women access their creative power and supports creatives, so artists, authors, teachers, healers, and creative business owners get their message out into the world through her live events and year-long coaching programs. Amber is the host of Women Unleashed Retreats, an online event that gathers tens of thousands of women each year, and I had the pleasure of being part of that. Amber began painting in 2010. Within 3 years, her award-winning artwork was featured in solo shows and the United Nations commissions on the statues of women and human rights. An artist's perspective. Sorry, that was all one word. Amber supports her online global community of over 25,000 women to spread their creativity throughout the world. When she's not teaching or coaching, you'll find her on the big island of Hawaii, painting, dancing the hula, and hanging with her husband and boys. Oh my goodness, I love it. It's so good.
Doesn't she sound fun? I want to hang out with her.
Right? You're so fun. I even danced the hula. You even taught us how to do the hula when we were there. It was so good.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story. And if you only started painting in 2010, what the heck were you doing before that?
So, before that, I was in corporate, and I was in retail management. I was in high-tech marketing. I had done the official, go to school, get a job that makes good money. That was the direction I was going. And it was really interesting. I didn't come to creativity until later in life. I loved creativity when I was younger. And, I think I was around second or third grade when my teacher said my artwork wasn't good. And from that point I was like, oh, I'm not meant to be an artist. I'm not a creative person. So I took on that story that I am not a creative person. And I know that I'm not the only one that's done that. Studies have shown that 95% of second graders believe they're creative. By the time they're in fifth grade, only 50%. And then by the time they're in high school, only 5%. So my story is not there are plenty of us out there that have like this traumatic, some story that, I'm not a creative person. Oh, they're creative. Those people over there. And so part of just this conversation, this larger conversation, is I want to reawaken you to help you remember that you are creative and that you're using creativity, and to let go of that story that you're not. So I did retail management, did high-tech marketing, did that path for some time, and then I decided to be a mom. I decided to hang out. I got pregnant, and I decided to do mom, and I loved it until, like, I hated it. It was so hard. It was so hard. And I totally, like, I'm laughing about it, but honestly, that was, like, one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like, I really lost myself in motherhood. Like, all I could see ahead of me was like, I just wanted to sleep. And there was like diapers and kids screaming. And it was like, it was beautiful. And at the same time, it was like, I had lost me. I lost me. And there was one point, I definitely went through depression during that time. And there was a point when I was like, I need something. I need something to keep me going. And I prayed. And the next day, in my inbox popped an invitation to a painting and a writing mentorship. And so that was like the beginning of me connecting to art. And that was at the beginning, it was just about me. It was art just purely for pleasure. I didn't care what it looked like. I didn't care if anyone liked it. It just made me happy. And that's how I started. So it was like kind of reawakening those parts of myself, that it wasn't about like being productive. It wasn't about being like a great member of society or being, having tons of contribution or significance. Like, I just wanted to be happy. And that was something that gave me pleasure and joy. So that's how I came back to it.
Oh, I love this. Like, I loved art at school, and then I completely lost it. You go to university and then a career, and I'd never painted anything or done anything since. And still something I really want to explore more, but I feel like my business gives me a little bit of a creative outlet, like playing with photos and, websites and colors and that kind of thing. So there's a little bit of it getting satisfied. Plus I get to write and do cool things, but, and I just find those stats really fascinating. What do you think makes these kids between 2nd and 5th grade drop from 95% to 50%? Is it just feedback from other people, or?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's interesting, like, but definitely, like, I know my work is to help women. However, I also volunteer in schools because I feel like I remember my story, and I know that it's important for other kids not to have that same story. So I'll go into classrooms and I'll show them like all different types of art, like what art is. And I'll show them like everything from like a couch, right, to clothing, to a car, to paintings, to like crazy abstract weird paintings, to like installation art of like donuts on screws, just showing them weird bizarro things. I mean, like, all of this is art. And so there's this mindset of like, oh, art is this. And it's like that in this box, like, it means if you can draw good, or if you can paint good, or if you paint things realistic, then you're an artist. But that's not true. I mean, there's so many different types of art. And I feel like it's a limiting thing. It's like this, it's this comparison of like, oh, they're good, I'm not good. And like, that's when the critic starts to come in, is around that age. Before that, kids don't care. They just like have their crayons. Everyone believes they're an artist. And then the critic pops in, and that critic is still active, obviously. All you have to do to like awaken the critic is to pick up, some crayons and to start drawing. And you're immediately going to be like, oh, I don't like that. That's not good. That voice is like running in the background. And my work is to help people just quiet that voice. Because there's this whole other voice that's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Why don't we try this? Oh, there's this over here. It's like this whole explosion of options that we're not even opening to. So
I love it. So just for a second, a lot of people are like, okay, that's it. But what happens when you suppress your creativity? Like, what does that even look like? Or what might some of the symptoms, for want of a better word, be for
Yeah.
somebody that's not exploring that?
Super controlling, depressed. So it's like emotions. You're suppressing your emotions. You're suppressing your outlets. So it's depression, sadness, just feeling kind of monotone about things. Like that's it as far as the emotion kind of stuff. But then also what I find, especially when I first start working with people again who are not used to creativity, is they're super perfectionistic and they're super critical. That criticism shows up in their lives and on themselves, how they criticize themselves.
Yeah.
And they criticize other people. Very controlling, want things to be a certain way. They don't like when things are not exactly right. So those are some of the areas that pop up. Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, because you are going to do a little process for us, which I'm so excited about. But on the
yes, be sure that you have markers and a piece of paper or something.
Yes.
And a beverage of choice. I'm drinking wine.
and I'm probably going to go and get some straight after this because I realized I haven't had any in ages.
Yeah. I normally have tea, but it's nighttime. I'm like, I'm going to have a glass of wine with Joanna.
I love it. I wish I'd known and I could have gone and got some. But so have a pen and some paper, some markers or some pens with you as well. Okay, so we've got the perfectionist and critical stuff coming up, and I'll put my hand up and admit to a little bit of that, especially for somebody. I thought I was quite good at school. Like I went and did a couple art competitions. I think now if I went back and tried, I think I'd be like, oh, that story that I was quite good at art isn't true anymore. So there's also that like flip side.
That's
right?
Such a good. I just have to stop you right there because I think what you said is really profound, and I don't want people to miss it. Is that you said that story you had that you were good at art you didn't think it was true anymore, and there's something powerful about the stories we make up about ourselves, right? So when you're young, you're telling yourself, "I'm good at art." And something changes where you start telling yourself a different story. So what I'm saying is, what if you decide to tell your story that I'm an artist or I'm creative? Like, what would change?
Yeah.
And I want you just to be an inquiry, during this conversation, after the session is over, I want you just to be an inquiry. What if I am an artist? What if I am creative? What if ideas come easily to me? What if creative problem solving is natural for me? What if I see unique opportunities? What if I am totally an out-of-the-box thinker? What if spirit moves through me in a unique way that can never move through anyone else? And that's my creativity.
I love that. What if spirit? I've never thought of thinking it like that. And I experienced, and it's not just art, right? It's writing. And when I started this business, like so many people do, I'm like, I just wanted to help people coaching. I was like, now I have to be a copywriter and a web designer and like a social media, like maven or whatever. And so it comes up in lots of different areas. Do you see that happen a lot? Like people are like the writing side of it as well, not just the art.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And when I work with people, I work with both sides. So we're talking about the brain. You have the right side of the brain, the left side of the brain. The left side of the brain is a little bit more linear. So there's things that make sense, things that you're used to from the past, numbers, patterns. Writing fits in there to a degree, right? Because you're writing. The right side of the brain is creativity, image, color, things that cannot be explained in words, right? So what's most powerful is when you use both sides together, when you marry the right and the left side of the brain. So I would say, writing absolutely, but why don't you write with like a colored pen, right? Just to even add some color in. Or to, I do where I teach image and then we do writing afterwards and connect to the writing of the image. But absolutely, like when I work with artists, I have people who are painters, people who are potters, people who are writers and who are editing their books. And there's different parts of you that, like for example, writing uses just the first writing draft, letting stuff come out is very different than the editing process where you're going through and you're critiquing and you're using that other side of your brain. So it's connecting to both sides.
Ooh, interesting. I used to, when I was like trying to do my dissertation, I'd write and try and edit and make it perfect as I went. And it felt really like it was, well, I think, to be honest, the thing nearly killed me because I hated it so much. But is that how you recommend writing? Just like get it all down and then go back and edit?
Yeah, absolutely. Like let that creative flow. We're talking about flow. Just let the flow move.
Yeah.
And then come back, because it's a different part of you, right? There's one part that's just about download, about listening, about letting stuff come out. And the editing part, or the critical part, will stop you. And it'll be like, oh, wait, well, maybe I should change this sentence. And the next thing you know, you've missed your flow. You're out of flow. And it's difficult to kind of pop back in. So I say just go fully into flow. I'm like, I don't care about punctuation. I don't care if it makes sense. Like, I don't care if you're jumping around. Just flow. You can come back later and edit it and change those things. You can always fix it.
That actually is really nice. Like giving me permission to just write and then come back and fix it, because I think that's where a lot of people get set. Like, you know, you see people, I think it's even at the beginning of Bridget Jones' Diary, they write the first sentence and then it like gets deleted, and then they write the first sentence and then it gets deleted. And I think a lot of people probably write like that. I've heard of people taking a day to write a newsletter, for instance. And
oh my gosh.
And that probably used to be, I mean, maybe not that extreme, but I used to take a lot longer and worry over it. And whereas now I can pop them out in, 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on what it is. And it's so much easier now. But I didn't allow it to be like that.
One of my favorite tips for writing quick newsletters is just to grab your phone and the voice memo function on your phone and go out for a walk. And I go out for a walk and I just speak into it and just records. So I'm just talking, blah, 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 send it to myself, and then I edit it after that. And so I have the flow. I'm out in nature. I'm, I'm just letting kind of stream of consciousness. And then I'm able to go back and edit really quickly.
Ooh, does it send it to you in Word?
You can forward it. So I can send it to my email. Yeah. And it just sends it as a doc.
Oh, with words?
Yeah, and you can just, exactly, the words. So here, hold on, I'm going to show you now.
Oh my goodness, this could change my life, Amber.
Okay, here we go. We're on my iPhone right here, but whatever you got here, right? Yeah. I'm going to my notes function.
Yeah.
Do you have notes?
Yeah, I'm going to find it right this second.
Notes, that's right here. So click on your notes.
Got it.
Okay, you're going to open up your notes, go to a new note. You got a new note?
Yes.
Okay, now at the very bottom, see this little microphone here? Right here? Click on your microphone and then start talking, and it should be good, period.
Hey, top tips from Amber. Yeah. Oh my goodness. This might be about to change a whole bunch of people's lives. And
good. And then afterwards, once you hit done, the very bottom, there's the arrow here in the center here.
Yep.
And you click that. And then you can message it to yourself, mail it to yourself. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Boom. Just saved y'all hours and hours of your life.
Oh my God. That's so good.
I know.
Oh, definitely. I've got emails to write later. I'm just going to drink mine and speak into my phone and that'll be good. I'm like, it's done. It's done. That's great. I love it. I love it. And I think for people that struggle with exactly that is going to be a huge benefit. Oh my goodness, I love it.
Yeah, just on a side note for that, as far as doing things that are totally different out of the box, is if you happen to be a business owner and you're listening here, or you're starting a business, part of what's cool about being an entrepreneur is you kind of get to do whatever you want. And I think many times we kind of forget that. It's oh yeah, I can do whatever I want. I can go outside and walk around with my phone and drink a glass of wine and do my blog posts. You can totally do that. Or here in Hawaii the other day, I just drove down the beach and I wanted to get outside. And I was like, oh yeah, my phone. I can turn into a hotspot. I've got my computer and I can sit here at the beach with the ocean waves. And this is my office today. So just encouraging you to live that freedom lifestyle. If that's what you're wanting, do it.
Yeah, I love getting out of the house. I love, well, there's obviously a dog in the background, but yeah, I love going to cafes and things like that and mixing it up. And it makes such a difference, and it actually would shift my consciousness. And I do get more creative because I'm like, oh, this is fun. It's a bit different, right? I love it. I love it. Thank you we haven't really talked about this and how to be more creative. That whole voice notes thing has slightly thrown me though, because I'm now like, oh my goodness, what can I do? Oh my goodness. So on the flip side, we talked a little bit of like what being creative, like the sort of sad stuff that happens. But what are some of the benefits of allowing this creativity to then come through your body? Like what does that look like?
For me, as far as like the emotions of it, it's like I feel very joyful. I feel very expansive, peaceful. There's not as much struggle. There's not that, like I talk about the creative cycle, and there's not like that stop, start. Like you can get momentum going when you're in creativity. You can, with creativity, you're also able to access, I believe, connect to spirit. I think that's part of what creativity is it's actually like a radio wave. It's like, okay, I'm connecting to spirit. And when you turn off creativity, you turn off a way to actually access more information. So you're turning on information that you're able to receive differently, which makes things easier for you. You're able to flow a little bit better in that way. And then heck, it's like totally fun. So, I mean,
right.
Hello, let's do
I know we don't have enough fun as entrepreneurs. Like people start these businesses and they're like, I'm gonna have so much freedom and happiness, and I'm like, oh god, I have to send a newsletter, this is killing me, right? Like I get that side of it. I was there, but I hear it all the time. People just aren't enjoying their businesses, and they fall out of love with them, and it's just, yeah, it's really sad actually.
Well, you know what I find happens is, like, if we're going to talk about fun or creativity, because I work with creative business owners, right, or people who are starting creative or workshop businesses kind of stuff, right? So people start and they're like into their vision and all this stuff, and they get into the business, and then they like get to the part of the business that kind of sucks. Like, okay, I have to like figure out how to like put this on WordPress or wherever they're at, and they're kind of like, this isn't what I signed up for. Like, this is what I really want to be doing, yeah. And what happens is like, then it's like all of the energy goes into like handling the things that are like really difficult to handle, that are not your natural thing, that are not your natural flow. You're spending all this energy here. And then it's like, you miss this part. So it's kind of like that reminder. Creativity helps you remind you to come back to this place, come back to the fun, come back to the play, come back to like that expansive thing that like makes you actually want to do what you're doing. And hire someone to deal with all this other stuff. Just saying.
Too right. I'm like, I love my tech team. I'm like, thank you guys. Please go and do this. I know what they need to do. I just can't and don't want to do it. I could if I tried, but I don't want to. Tell us a little bit more about the creative cycle. You just mentioned it, but what is that?
Yeah. Here. I like diagrams, so I'm going to draw you a picture. Okay.
Beautiful. I love it.
Creative cycle. Sorry, my color is going wonky, but it's cool. Okay, so in the creative cycle, there's 4 different things to actually make anything creative, okay?
Yeah.
So the first one I talk about is energy. Mm-hmm. You got to have the energy to do it. So, for example, if you're telling yourself in your head, I totally suck at art, I totally am terrible at that, it just sucks your energy, right? Or with lots of creatives or just even entrepreneurs, you have a gazillion ideas and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it's like your energy's scattered all over the place. And so you don't have enough energy to actually complete your cycle. You start and then you like run out of energy, okay? So you need energy to start off. And there's different things we do, but I'm just going through the 4 steps here.
Yeah. I'm just overview.
Okay? All right. After that, you need structure.
Ooh.
Okay. So this is about your schedule. This is about you making sure that you have boundaries, that it's like you have this creative energy, right? And if you don't have structure for it, is going to leak everywhere. So this is, for example, if you get overwhelmed really easily, you need some structure. You need a plan to make sure that you're not like leaking out everywhere. All right. So structure.
Got it.
You know what I'm talking about, sister?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. And it's funny, I would never have put structure into a creative cycle. Like,
oh yes, that's actually what we really need. Okay, next is moving into intuitive creativity, or like that connecting to spirit. Okay, this is like where the actual creativity happens. This is all about you listening to yourself, tuning inwards, trusting yourself. This is where self-trust is built in this space here. So once you have the energy and once you have the structure, boom, creativity is able to flow. Okay. And last but not least is focus.
yes.
Where you have to actually focus what you're working on and finish. Okay. Now, for a lot of creatives, they don't like that one as much. They're like, but I want to do that project. I want to do that project. I want to do that project. So if you don't finish your projects, you haven't finished the creative cycle. It's like you started and you're petering out. You got to finish it. You got to finish it. So if you've got unfinished canvases, half-written blog posts, half-done business ideas, I mean, all of that half-done stuff, you're not finishing your cycle, right? And so you need the whole thing. You got to go through the whole thing. And once you focus and finish, boom, you get tons of energy again. That happens when you finish.
I did it. So what would you say is maybe the one way for each of these parts that you can start to create that? So for structure, what would be, so energy would be focusing on one thing, maybe?
Yep. Energy could be focusing on one thing. One thing I would do for energy that might help you right now is just to be aware of your thoughts.
Yeah. Love that.
I'm going to keep writing this down. So awareness of your thoughts, and in particularly how many times you're thinking negative thoughts. Because it's like energy sucking. So it's like noticing where your energy is being sucked, where you're sucking your own energy out of yourself. Okay. Structure. That's going to be about, it could be about boundaries. It could be about schedule, any of those things. So one piece with structure would be to just choose one thing to like add some structure in. So for me, when I start with people, I actually start with a daily creative spiritual practice. That's for my people.
Beautiful.
So for you, it could be a movement practice, or it could be something that's like adds some sort of structure and that's going to amp up your energy. That's going to help you tap into your creativity. And that side. Okay. So it can be 5 minutes. I don't care. Like people are like, I don't have time. Like, oh, that's bullshit. Excuse me. Like, that's crazy. You can find the time for this. It's important. It's really important. That's what connects you to your spirit. That's really important. So 5 minutes, even if it's 5 minutes right when you get up, like taking 3 breaths and, running through some gratitudes and just doing that every day. So that's your structure piece of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And then as far as your creativity, that actually naturally starts to happen once you have energy and structure. Your creativity actually naturally starts to flow. When I talk about intuitive creativity, I talk about actually listening to something bigger than yourself. That it's not just like, oh, I want to draw to make something pretty. It's like, no, what is my intention? Like, what do I want to birth in the world? Like, there's even this drawing is a birth. Even, everything is a birth. So tapping into the deeper meaning behind that and creativity.
Love it. Yeah.
And then focusing and finishing is pick one. That's the one where I'd say pick one thing.
Okay.
And finish it.
Yeah.
And if you've got lots of projects, one recommendation that I do with people is low-hanging fruit. Choose one thing that's like almost done that you haven't finished, that's just been sitting there, and just finish it. And it's going to amp up your energy. So you're gonna go through a cycle and amp up your energy. So that finishing piece. So just pick one thing and do it.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. I've got a few things that I've started.
We all do.
I have a list of about 20 blog posts I want to write, and I'm like, okay, just work and get them done.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. You're back. I was like, I thought it was the wine for a moment.
You're not drinking. What are you talking about?
Not yet. Oh my goodness. I love it. That's so beautiful.
If you're open, I would love to lead everybody through a creative cycle real quick to help them unleash their creativity.
Let's do it.
Okay,
That was where I was about to go with this. I've got my markers.
You and I are in flow. We so are in flow. We don't know which one. Okay, so, I just used my page now. Here we go. So go to a blank page, and I want you to grab a marker. We're going to do something that's been done for a long, long time. But what I want you to do before you do this, it's different, is we're going to do intentional creativity. This process is, intentional creativity is to create, not just to create, but to create with intention, that you're putting your energy into it, that you're going to be receiving some information from your creativity. This process is taught through Shadow Sophia. So, honoring my lineage. Okay, so I want you to take a marker, and with the intention of opening up to creativity, that you are going to get a message, that you're going to get some information that's going to help you open up to your creative flow. And I want you to take your marker and you just go ahead and scribble a little bit on your page. And here's what mine looks like. Awesome. And I want you to look at your drawing, and you're just going to start to shift it until you see something, and then you're going to draw it.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so I found mine. Sometimes you might not find yours, but what I'm going to encourage you is don't overthink it, okay, where you're just, I want you to be in spirit here. So don't be like, oh, well, no, that's not good enough, or I don't know if that's exactly right. Just, if you feel the nudge, just do it, okay, that first nudge.
Yeah. And
keep turning it around until you find it.
Okay. Actually, maybe this way. I'm already second guessing myself.
Right?
Yeah.
So the cool thing about creativity is that it just shows us what we're doing in other areas of our lives. Right? So if you're second guessing yourself here, you're doing that in other areas.
Yep.
What?
Me? No. Occasionally it happens. Occasionally it happens. So I'm just filling in.
Okay, so I'm showing you kind of what mine's doing. So here's my scribble drawing, and I'm starting to add things to it, right? So I saw this animal, and so now I'm starting to create my animal from my original scribble drawing, okay?
Got it.
Just let yourself be loose. You can color it in if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, and as you're coloring in, I want you to just be open to that inquiry of what is my medicine, or what am I meant to be receiving to help me tap into my creativity? What is the message here in my drawing for me?
I would love to know what an art therapist would make of this.
Well, this has actually been used since like late 1930s in art scribble drawing. I don't know exactly how they do it, but I know they do the scribble part.
I'm curious. I'm like, this is interesting. What's happening? Yeah.
What's happening here?
It's fun. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I want you, as you're doing this, just to notice what's going on in your head, right? We talked about energy and thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably one of a couple things going on right now. Either you are like, this is so much fun. I love this. This is cool. I haven't done this in a long time. Yay, this makes me happy. Or you can be in a place of like, shoot, I don't know what my thing is. And you keep turning it around and around and around. You're like, I can't find it. And you're overthinking it, trying to get it right.
Yeah.
What happens in your life? A lot of times you're trying to get it right all the time. Or you're pissed off. You're like, I hate this. This is stupid. I don't want to do this. I'm not creative. I'm not good at this. And you're super critical. And that criticism, you do the same thing to yourself. You're really critical of yourself, honey. So I'm seeing it here too.
Okay.
So you can continue drawing. I mean, I could stay here for a while just drawing my giant thing. Okay, it's got a pink head now. Here's my thing's got a pink head.
I love it. I love it. This is mine. It's like two mountains with the sun and little house. And then I don't know why I have a person on each mountain. That might signify something to do with one of my relationships. I don't know.
All right. Okay, so then I want you to, once you know your message, just to write what that is. And it can just be a word or a phrase or a sentence.
Okay. Done.
Okay, so mine is here and it says, guard your creativity fiercely.
Oh, he's so cute. I put mine, the sun always shines.
I love that. I want to see yours. I want to see
a giant sun. This is a giant sun. So
it's a giant hot pink sun.
Yeah. Can you see it? I don't know.
I totally can.
Yeah, you can. Okay. I wasn't sure because sometimes I don't know which screen is on show. So I'm quite chuffed with that. It does look like a 6-year-old did it. Maybe a 2-year-old. I don't know. I'm not very up with that, but I'm cool.
On a side note, so we're just going to let all that go because that's part of what scribble drawing is. Like, you're not meant to be drawing something really amazing off of the scribble, right? You're just drawing. So we can let go of the whole it needs to look like this or a 6-year-old drew it or whatever. Because my guess, and this is my theory, is that most of us, we were only taught art until like what? We were like 6, 7, 8 years old. And then we didn't do art anymore. We didn't do all that stuff. And so we're still drawing at whatever age we left off. And it's fine. It's just like anything else. It's just like, any other school subject. You practice more and you get more and more comfortable with it. And
Oh my goodness. It's so fun. It's so fun. So what would, like, if somebody is like, okay, this is cool. I've done my scribble drawing. What would the next step for them in trying to unleash their creativity be? Like, what would they do next? So like, cool, I can stick it on the fridge. Like, is it just trying to do one of those a day? Like, how would you?
You can totally do something daily. You could do scribble drawing like what I did. I'll show you some things that I do. I just try to do lots of different things. I'm all about doing whatever makes me feel happy. So I do painting, I do watercolor, I use crayons, markers. Here's like markers I do with watercolor. I just use markers. Because I've been doing different things. Crayons.
Oh, cool.
With writing.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool. There's all sorts of different things you can do. Watercolor. I like watercolors a lot.
Yeah.
I like to write.
Gorgeous.
Scribble. Here's more scribbling.
It can almost be like a kid's storybook or something.
You can do. It's like all different ways to tap in, and I like to do, like I said, the right brain and left brain. So I have an image, and many times I use words as well with whatever message I meant to get. Mandalas.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people drawing and sort of doing coloring in books these days. Like, it's just really interesting. It seems to be adult coloring is like back in fashion. It's like cool again.
Totally. The great thing about coloring on your own is it's kind of like a de-stressor. It's awesome. I would say next step is doing your own stuff. Like, adult coloring is beautiful, but you're not going to have you're not going to be face to face with that critic as much, right? That's saying like, oh, I don't like that, because something beautiful has already been drawn. You just need to color it in. So that's like the chill out, relieve stress kind of thing, which is awesome. And I would say to awaken and unleash your creativity, like, I'm inviting you to go one step further. You totally can. Can. And there's lots of great resources to connect you to different types of creativity too, whenever you feel called to.
I love it. I've never thought of it quite so as in such a sort of, it's not abstract way, but I don't know what the word is. But yeah, I think that's it. You also take, when we were in Hawaii, you showed us your notes that you take. And as an entrepreneur, I'm shamed at the amount of paper I go through. I take notes on every conversation. I've got like 6 pages of notes just from our conversation. But mine look a little bit like this, right? Like they're not very pretty. They're just on white sheets of paper. And, you know, and for every interview, I've probably got like 6 to 10 bits of paper. Partly just because I think I absorb the information better if I write it down. And also I look back and I take notes and I'll, you know, write up little things for each of the interviews. But your note taking is even beautiful and creative. But since then I've been a little bit better. I don't know if I could find it, but there's something I've been doing. One of my latest classes, all of my notes are really pretty. And it's because I went out and bought a whole ton of markers since I did your process in Hawaii, and even just having those colored markers available, so I can, you know, make my notes look a bit prettier. Like especially because I'm doing a shamanism course, and so I'm doing all of those notes in like really really pretty. But yeah, it makes a big difference. So even something like that.
Here's an example of one.
Yes, I love it. It's almost like an infographic.
Yeah, it's really fun because it's like, you know, going back, it's much easier to read my notes here than it is just to read a page full of notes. Like I see the important things and I just use whatever image comes up, right? So they think this was talking about monetizing your gifts. And she was talking about like a vehicle to monetize your gifts. Like vehicle, great, I'll draw a car. And I wrote vehicle to monetize. And then boom, it pops back in my head. It's that, again, using both the right and left side of the brain. Yeah. And you're able to absorb much more. It's like most of us are only using half of our brain. It's like, what would happen if you used all your brain? Oh my gosh, like what would happen?
Right. It's so clever. And one of the things I've noticed in just generally in business is if you're in your creative flow, if you're in, you know, tapping into source, you will be more yourself than ever before, right? And I think that in this industry, certainly, like there's too many copycats and this person's doing the same and she did that, so I should do that. And if we can actually get into this creative space, it sort of eliminates that, and it eliminates this competition piece, right?
Totally. It's that space that we talked about with creativity, that I believe creativity is actually your birthright. It's like your co-creation with spirit, like is your creativity. That's what makes you unique. And when you're not creating, then you are just like everybody else. I mean, there's so much of the same message going on out there in business. It's like, wah, wah. Here, like if I get another email that says the same thing, I'm going, oh my gosh, I just delete. What makes you different is your uniqueness, the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you hang out, like the way you drink wine. I mean, you know, it's like that. It's like owning all of that instead of being like, oh no, I don't want to do that. It's like a business thing, or, you know, whatever that conversation is. It's like, again, that's the critic. That critic shows up in your business. That critic shows up when you're creating. The cool thing about with creativity is when you're practicing, it's like practicing how to deal with your critic, right? And then when it shows up in business, it's still there, but it's like, oh, there you are. I recognize that. I know what to do with that, right? So it's like a playful way to be able to practice letting go of that conversation that keeps you small. Yeah.
Wow. I think it's a beautiful message, and we might just actually end with that. Like creativity, what was it? Quieting your creativity. Like not having your creativity keeps you small. I love that. Yeah. Creativity. Yeah. Okay. I'm like writing that down. I love it. There's like at least a couple of tweetables from every interview. I'm like, this is a fabulous. Right? I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay. So everybody, I want you to show us your scribble drawings in the group. Please post them, right? It's so much fun.
I can't wait to see them. Show me. I can't wait to see your scribble drawings, to hear your message too, right, of your creativity. And then the one piece left is, because we talk about the creative process, about finishing, right? But for me, it's also about action taking, using that energy to move you forward. So whatever information you got, like what is that one thing that message is wanting you to do? Like one small action forward based on that.
Beautiful. I know, right? The message.
Share with us. What is it? Tell us.
Right? Exactly. Scribble drawing and message. Message and action step. Okay, got it. I love it. I can't wait to see these as well. It's going to be so fun. All right, I'm going to have to put a warning with this. Must go get your pencils and paper before you start. So
right?
good.
But also just make sure it's like, oh, crayons are welcome too, because we all have crayons or some sort of markers lying around.
Right, so. Right, exactly. So it doesn't have to be, yeah, if you've got a kid, you've got no excuse for this.
No excuse. Actually, here's my kids' crayons right here. I use them.
I love it. It's so cute. I know. I need to. It's fun. I mean, I'm excited. All right. Thank you so much, my dear. Where on earth can we find you online? Where do you hang out the most?
You can find me. Gosh, I'm all over the place. But let's go to my website, theradiantmama.com.
Beautiful.
Find me there, and I would love, am I able to share something yummy for my people to continue their creativity?
Of course. We'll also have it linked up right below here as well.
Perfect. So what I want to do is, if you feel inspired, if you feel like, you know what, I want to kind of connect to that, my creativity a little bit more. I want to touch into that a little bit to nurture yourself. What I do is I am offering a at-home mini retreat. I love retreats. It's like what I do for people. I lead retreats all over, but I wanted to offer a retreat at home so that there's like no excuse. You can do it at home. I give you like the most simple of materials, and it's a 4-part retreat where you're able to just tune inwards, tap into something that actually helps you connect to your creativity. We're tapping into a symbol, but I'm taking you through a painting process this time. Anyone can do it. Just saying this, anyone can do it. I'm really well known for working with beginners. So if you're a beginner, I gotcha. And it takes you through this powerful, powerful journey together, where it's like each one of these sessions is like a little mini spa retreat at home for yourself. So it's normally $250, but for you, it's free, because I really want you to tap into your creativity and go for it.
Important. It's so important. Thank you so much. And that's so generous. So yeah, click the link. It's below here. And you can get all that juicy stuff and all the information. And you might have to go out and buy a couple of markers if you don't have any, but view it as a fabulous investment. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I'm like quite inspired. I feel like there's this little piece of me is like, oh my gosh, I can do stuff. I can do more. But it's a bit like when cooking, like you have all these ingredients, and then afterwards you have this thing to show for it, and it's like, oh my god, I made those cupcakes from nothing. It's so good. And art is kind of like the same. I'm like so chuffed with myself. I'm like, wow, it was nothing.
Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many times I start a piece and I'm like, I don't even know about this, and I get it, like finish it up, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I did that. That's awesome. Or when I lead retreats, like I have new painters all the time. People have never painted them. And like this weekend, I'm leading a retreat for 50 people. And I can't tell you, people like they're painting and they're like, at the end, they're like, oh my gosh, I created this. It's amazing. It's like this whole, like the energy that's been awakened from your creativity is super powerful.
Wow. I'd never thought of it like that either. And I love it. And I so appreciate you. And thank you so much for all of your wisdom and the fun, right? Like, I'm like, it doesn't have to be boring. I love it. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.
You're welcome. Loved it. Love you, everybody.
Bye.